Welcome into 11 Personnel, presented by Monticello Bank. Nick Rash and Adam Luckett here with you in the middle of a cold January day to talk a little Kentucky football. It's the off season, but I'm sure you're a little irritated by that other sport, so we'll give you something to get excited about. Will Stein in action, ready to rock, ready to roll. He's in South Florida where it's not near as cold, but again, I have been receiving reports. Have you seen the Bay effect snow that could be hitting the Tampa area? Oh, yep. And your mic was not working there, but there is maybe up to an inch of snow that could be hitting Florida. And we were just talking, and
it's so crazy. Y'all were just having a conversation. We hit go live, and the mic stops working. It's unbelievable.
You know who's always working though, Peak, rain or shine, cold, no matter what happens. Monticello Bank. They've been working since 1895. Doing work for the people. It's where people matter. They'll get the best numbers for you to get the best rates, no matter what it is, whether you need to save up for something or whether you need to get a loan to buy a new house. Home buying season's right around the corner. Gear up by talking to a mortgage lender today at Monticello Bank. They've got locations all across the Commonwealth, and they're conveniently located online at mbcbank.com. Monticello Bank, it's where people matter. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, and proud presenting sponsors of 11 Personnel. Sorry for that. But yeah, Mr. Luckett, we could be seeing snow in South Florida. It was a cool 48 degrees there, which might as well be 28 for Floridians.
Yeah, they've been in Jacksonville. They've been having frost, I guess, watch or warning in the mornings. So they're running around like chickens with their head cut off. Don't know what to do.
You got to watch that Bermuda grass.
Wild time. I don't know when this snow is going to melt. I'm just sick of looking at it already here in Mount Washington.
I'm a city rat. I have alleyways that lead to my garage, and you can shovel. Like, there's not a whole lot for me to shovel, but the alleyway, it's like, dude, I'm not going to shovel the whole damn alley. And today, the wife got out, went to the grocery, and when she came back, she went back in the van, and we got stuck multiple times digging out. So the long story short was, yes, we had to dig out a lot of the alley to make sure it could get in and out. Not fun. I have the seasonal depression. I think just getting cooped up in here. Like, football's winding. We've got one football game left. Going a little crazy, a little stir crazy here. Basketball team isn't helping. Didn't help much last night. So we're going to talk football today. Luckett has made it depth chart week on KSR Plus. So I know that if Will Stein, if you're watching, I know you don't want to see no depth chart, right? Like, there's not going to be a depth chart for Will Stein.
That's the first thing I thought of. They're probably not loving. No, here we go. Here they go over there, KSR.
But it gives us something to talk about, and we're going to talk about that tonight. We also got a lot of questions from our friends over at KS Board to get to as well. Luckett, before we get into position by position, when you were going through
before we start, I have to, before I forget.
Yeah.
You need to go watch the Dabo press conference.
Oh, his Pete Golding tampering one?
But there's a part in the beginning because it's an hour and a half. Like, it was like the Mitch Stoops press conference. Remember that?
Yeah.
It's an hour and a half long. And Dabo, they introduce Chad Morris at the beginning. And before I scrub through to get to, all right, let's get to the good parts here. I don't need to listen to Chad Morris. Dabo dropped. I'm not kidding you. Dabo dropped to go forward. Sometimes you have to go backline.
With sincerity?
With sincerity.
Man.
He said it. I'm going to clip it and put it up there, but online. But, oh, my God, Nick, I was cackling in my office here.
I thought you were going to say he pulled a Shane Beamer with the Dow Loggins one.
No,
because that one's a personal favorite of mine.
He said it in a way what was like, I know y'all are going to make fun of me for this. I don't care. And just, with his all shucks demeanor, I know a lot of people don't like him, but I think he's the most unintentional, funny person in college football. Like, just
he's a cartoon character
without a doubt about it. It's like the when the Louisville game, it was just the no quitting me, like his little diatribe he went on in the post game. It just yeah, just I could not believe he said that. Like it's something out of like an SNL scene. If they did college football, that would be something you think you'd see in an SNL.
SEC shorts. They're giving you. He's giving you material.
Yeah, just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Oh, that is a good reminder. We needed that reminder that Chad Morris is back. I thought you were going to make me talk about Mike McCarthy. I thought that was what you were going to start with, which I don't.
Dude, anytime the Steelers lose, that's going to pop up on social media.
Dude, Mike, why did you shave your beard? Like that was a good look for you. It was it covered up all of this. And then you're going back north. It's cold as hell in Pittsburgh, and you shave it off.
He's a big man.
It feels like they were like, what? Let's just get the most yens guy we can get. And, he was available.
In a lot of ways.
To go forward, you got to go back.
Yeah, a lot of ways. He's the opposite of Tomlin in like a weird, like, they're the same, but they're different.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's the offensive version of Tomlin.
Yes, but he's not seen, I don't think, as good of a coach in the public sphere as Tomlin is.
They both
people see McCarthy, I think, as kind of an underachiever.
Yeah.
Where they see Tomlin as an overachiever.
Well, and part of that is Big Cat's theory. It's he's fat. So, yeah, it's pretty easy to see this big fat guy and be like, oh, that guy's an idiot. Big dum-dum. And, the way things ended with Aaron Rodgers, if they just run it back like it's 2011 and Rodgers comes back,
yeah, they have one of the more fascinating off seasons ahead, I feel like.
And the worst part about it, Luckett, is because we could have had a real good time making fun of the Ravens for just the Ravens are doing the weirdest thing where they fire their coach and then they hire his former defense. Minter wasn't his defensive coordinator, but he was another Harbaugh defense coordinator.
Harbaugh guy, yeah.
And then because their former defense coordinator's in the Super Bowl, but then he gets fired, and then their offensive coordinator becomes a head coach. Like, it's just a weird.
Well, all of it kind of happened a year too late, like with the Monken stuff, because I thought he was awesome there for 2 years, and then this year didn't go well. But Lamar was there was weird stuff going on over there, and their offensive line kind of fell off. But to me, it's almost like, well, we had Mike McDonald here, and we had the former Michigan defensive coordinator. We had him in house. We were awesome. We probably should have moved on from John Harbaugh then. So let's go get the next closest thing. Was kind of what it felt like. And he's who I thought the Steelers were going to hire because he kind of fit that.
Yeah.
And I wonder how high he was on their board. And then once he came off, if
they just were like, McCarthy's our nice second option. But it's been a weird NFL coaching carousel because Monken, former Georgia OC.
Zach Yenzer, offensive line coach, Miami Dolphins, announced today.
Just as everyone predicted, Yenzer being an offensive line coach. We talked about the Boston College thing, but Minter, former Michigan guy. So a lot of which I had this take bubbling, Luckett. Doesn't it feel like Will Stein could be one of these young NFL head coaching candidates here in a couple of years if things go well at Kentucky?
Yeah, I think we're I don't think from Kentucky, but if he had a good run at Kentucky to
because it was different with Liam because Liam started in the NFL and just came down. But he is what a lot of people want to hire, and so it's kind of nice like that Kentucky got one of these guys,
Yeah, and I think the reason Stein was, kind of the hire was a lot of the reason Kentucky was able to get him was because he's from here. Dad played here.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up a fan, played at Louisville, but was out on another planet in Oregon, got to come home. Where I don't think, like, if Will Steiner was from, let's just say he was from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And walked on at Oklahoma State, I don't know if he's going to Kentucky.
Right.
There were special circumstances with him. And, I think in, like, the national media space, it feels like Kentucky is one of the more popular, like, if you're given an A grade, I think a lot of people they just like the process of that, what Kentucky did, what they've done, and they're big fans. I think Stein, and then Lanning's kind of got they're getting the reputation as kind of being the, he's got the tree or whatever. Because Kenny Dillingham's doing really well right now. Now Stein's taking all these guys with him, and we'll see if they do well. Then you got potential, like, Dan Lanning tree here.
The point that Peak actually makes in the chat, would Will go to the NFL to be an OC? Jeff Hafley, I mean, they just kind of stalled, petered out at Boston College, and he decided that was going to be his move.
But he had the NFL background before, though. He had multiple years where Will's never, he's a college football coach.
Right. You mentioned the national media landscape. Quick teaser before we get into it. I when I was on one of my runs the other day, I had a eureka moment because I was like, long story short, we're going to be giving you some more short ammunition throughout the offseason. Little no huddle, 11 personnel style. We're going to be talking to some of those national media folks. Your Josh Pates, your Cole Cubics, people like that, talking SEC, Kentucky football. We're going to be dropping one a week of those in addition to the normal show here. Those will just be quick, like 10, 15-minute hitters. Maybe you're getting dinner ready or something to listen to, something to watch. So anticipate those coming up. We're going to be hanging out with Connor O'Gara to start things off. His Hoosiers won the national championship. He went to school there. He was there for it all. So going to speak with him, talk a little SEC ball in the near future. Give us some content, especially because we got to fill out these Sundays, and if Kentucky keeps losing basketball games, it's going to be hard to write stuff. Today I was like, let's write about all these 20-point losses. So it's like I'm good. I'll let the basketball guys handle that.
Don't worry about the Sunday content because we're 2 weeks away from Kentucky baseball season getting rocking and rolling.
You got something cooking too for the YouTube channels.
We'll have an announcement on Sunday. Officially.
Oh, okay. Official announcement. There you go. Look at us just teasing all this content coming out. Baseball team looking like they got their ducks in a row. Well, Coach Minge, preseason All-American Tyler Bell. Love to see it. All right, let's get into actual depth chart stuff, because you did put together an offensive one and a defensive one. And you had some takeaways today on KSR Plus. When you were trying to do the position, like which one was the one that was the hardest to slice and dice?
Yeah, that's easy. Left guard. Like, your guess is as good as mine. As you see, I miss. If you hate Oars, this is not the spot. The left guard position is not the one for you because I don't know, Nick. Yeah. Right? Like, Olas Alinen, I think he could be a factor there. You don't know. I think Jay Clark could maybe be a factor there. Now, if I was a betting man, I would say Jordan Knox, Abbas Elm, and Max Anderson are the three. I think kind of fighting for that spot. And I would classify Knox and Selm as kind of the favorites to co-favorites right now. And then we'll see how it goes. But I don't think we're going to know who that starter is until first team offense runs out there against who are they? I don't even know who they're playing week one. Who's up on week one?
I think it's Youngstown State, right?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yep, that sounds right. Yeah. The Penguins. Whoever runs out there against the Penguins in a hot summer day in the Bluegrass. Hopefully the snow's gone by then.
We'll find out. That the part that I'm curious about that we won't get an answer to either, unless you're actually watching practice. Just Stein is all about competition, but you do have to give the reps. How do you rep share in a lot of these positions where it is going to be kind of a wide open competition? I would throw cornerback and wide receiver in that mix as well. It's like, well, because it gets me back to the basketball conversation where obviously in spring it doesn't matter as much. You want to get guys as many good reps as possible, but eventually you kind of need to get your guys to know how to work together, right? So like how are all the levers pulled and all that sort of thing? That's the part that interests me just from a process base that I'm fascinated about, that I don't know if we're actually going to get an answer to like it.
Yeah. Just how they go about practice. Like, are they going to be a morning practice team?
Yeah. Don't know.
Like, or the afternoon practice team? Just what does that look like? Just how it's structured.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of that is going to be new to us.
Especially because like even if when I believe it was when Boulware came in, they just how they integrated special teams was different, and we were like, oh, okay, this is a fun little new tweak. I mean, practices could be restructured wholesale. I mean, we've just been dealing with the same thing for 15 years or whatever. So that part fascinates me. We don't have a set spring practice date yet. I think Florida announced their spring game. Usually it's like Masters weekend, right? Most of these are played.
When they were humming in kind of a rotation, it was that Friday of Masters weekend, or it was the week after when they did the Saturday. So like you're looking at typically second or third week in April when they end it. And typically start around SEC tournament practice, right? Yeah. Start around SEC tournament. You take a break for spring break, come back, and you space them out. Now, what will they do? I don't know. That's something, again, we're going to find out here over these next few weeks.
Still up in the air. Will Stein's out recruiting. Let's go through some other positions. I know we know that Kenny Minchie is the heir apparent at quarterback. What do you the Marshall guy, Jackie Wong?
I think is how you
pronounce it. Ja'Kai Wong, and then the kid from FAU,
Carson Cruver, preferred walk-on.
Do we think Wong has a legit shot to usurp Brennan Ward, or is it wiser to just think that they would invest in the future there? I got no clue like it. I really don't.
I would be pretty surprised, Nick, if Matt Ponatoski shows up in June if he's not QB2.
Yep, it's fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, we'll see with Ward. I know they liked him over there, and it sounds like Stein likes him. I think just from an arm strength and kind of positional athleticism and all that, I think there's people that are intrigued by him. So I think he right now, like, he'll be QB2 in the spring. And we'll see if Ponatoski can overtake him, but I just would be surprised if that guy shows up and is playing football.
Yeah. And is not getting
if he's not the backup quarterback. Yeah. I mean, it's just
we had the latest update in the final update, I should say, in the Rivals 300, and Ponatoski slid, I don't know, 30, 40 spots or something. Still top 230 player. But I look at the numbers. It's pretty clear why they slowed him down. He went from a 4,000-yard passer to about 2,500 yards, 58 touchdowns to 28. Moeller was not as explosive this year as they were a year ago, but one thing didn't change. Like it, 3 picks the year prior, one this year.
Yeah. Again, I would say just watch those games. Obviously, they were a little more limited on offense, but the 2 games I watched, Cincinnati St. X in the regular season, and then that comeback early in week 2, they played a team from, I think, Indiana. He was just, I mean, I thought he played awesome in both those games and just totally controlled it. And I believe the St. X game was the one game he threw a pick in the regular season. So yeah, I wouldn't overreact too much to those numbers. He was still really good this year.
All right. Speaking of numbers, Luckett, you only included 2 running backs, but Jason Patterson will likely have something to say and be in that mix there. If I had to set the line on CJ Baxter carries at 10.5 per game, you taking the over or under?
So 10.5, that would get us at 120. I would say over, but just about a little bit.
So maybe around a dozen or so.
Yeah. does 12, 13. I'll be looking at probably 130 to 140 kind of the kind of window I'd be looking at.
And this gets us to a bigger conversation. Let's say just numbers, 75 plays a game is the target, right? 30 of those runs, 20 of those runs. How you?
If they're going to lean pass heavy at all, I don't think it's going to be any crazy number. So I do think they're going to try to run the ball, and I think offensive line is one of their bigger team strengths. So I think they'll lean on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think it's going to be a real committee approach. Like I think Baxter, Barnes, and Jason Patterson are all going to, I think they're all going to be north of 50 carries, 50, 60 carries, those three.
Mm-hmm. And then the one thing that all three of them share in common is pretty good at catching the ball out of the backfield.
I think we'll have two backs will be over 100 would be my prediction. Like you're going to get two backs over probably Baxter and Barnes would be my kind of.
Well, unless one of them gets injured,
unless one of them gets injured, which is a huge, like for the offense specifically, that's a huge deal because I mean that's kind of real and something. We'll see how it plays out, but that's something I think you have to keep in the back of your mind because there are real injury histories with guys they're expecting to, I think, to carry a heavy load both at tailback and receiver.
Which at receiver, I'm not going to say you copped out like it. I think you did the smart thing because it's hard to pigeonhole these guys, right? But there are a lot of guys. This does feel like the sort of top six.
Yes.
And I can get with you on that. And I think the biggest difference that you notice from all those measurements right there, a lot of wink there, right? That was not
big unit, yeah.
That was not the case in any of the previous years, right? Like most of those slot guys were smaller guys, not just Cam Miller small, but even going back to Tavion Robinson, Wan'Dale Robinson. You don't really see that here. Don't really see that at all.
No, I mean, this is a big group, and there's not necessarily, I would say, a true slot. Maybe I think Darby could probably become that. So this is a big room. For me, Nick, it's like there's four like factors here. It's like one, can you get the 2023 Nick Anderson?
Yeah.
Two, it's like Shane Carr obviously is going to play a big role for you. How well does he transition? Number three, it's DJ Miller had a good first year. What does he look like in this new offense? Can he be a guy for you? And four, it's like Kenny Darby, the wild card. Because he can go.
Yeah.
Put up monster numbers in Louisiana. I think when you watch him, he's got a lot of gadget player type skill set, just getting the ball, on some of these smoke screens, bubbles, and just letting reverses and just try to create, let him go play make for you. I think he's going to have a real role in this offense. And so that's kind of like, how does the passing game go? I think that is going to, those four areas is kind of what you need to watch for. And then on top of that, I think there's a lot on Kenny Minchey's plate. Like, I don't think there's a ton of easy buttons with the offense. There's not a, just give it to that effing guy, right? Right.
Throw it up to Wan'Dale. He's down there somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Just, there's not that like, okay, here's our get out jail free card. I don't think they have that, right?
Now maybe you say that you get that in a third down situation. Willie Rodriguez is your all right, 3rd and 6. Hit him with the sticks, right?
Sure.
And just
I think Kenny Darby can become that in time. I think he's got that kind of potential, but I don't think he's there right now. So just how they kind of scheme it up and all of that, and then what they asked Minchey to do is just going to be, fascinating. And then just like, I think from a play calling standpoint, just how they go about building this offense, I think is really kind of fascinating because of that new quarterback. You think the offensive line is good. We're going to see, you never really know. The receivers and running backs, if you squint, you can see it with all of them, but
yeah,
just how they work together. It's going to be interesting to see just how they design and implement and execute this offense.
Miller is the one that if you had to buy stock in people, that's the one where you hope that new scheme really unlocks his ability, and also just a full healthy run, right? And if I'm not mistaken, was he here in the spring?
He was here in the spring, had a really good spring, and then he got,
it was the summer
had one of
where
soft tissue during fall camp, and he had to miss the 4 or 5 games. I think he missed 5 games in total. Played the last 7.
Yeah, so that's one where I really like what you've shown me thus far. Let's see how many more layers of this onion we can peel back. Love me a good onion ring. Love me a good, especially if you get the onions that are like seared, like sautéed onions on a burger. That's outstanding. Don't like the whole red onion, but onions, fantastic, delicious when mixed in the right way. And we've got a new combination for you that we're going to mix in right here before we get to the defense. On 3, BetMGM. We've been hanging out with BetMGM for a while. We told you about the partnership, that first bet offer, right? Where if you bet it, you get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Well, guess what? We've added to this new first-time offer, right? When you use that code on 3, not only are you going to get the first bet offer when you sign up with BetMGM, you also are going to get a code to get 50% off an annual subscription to On 3, KSR Plus. KSR Plus with us. That's the deal, right? Get that extra added on, 50% off an annual membership. So it's the best of both worlds. You get a little double dip, right? And the Super Bowl's coming up. College basketball is heating up. You need to get in on the action at BetMGM. They got the best lines. App's very easy to use. So go ahead, download the BetMGM app. Use that bonus token on 3. All you got to do is deposit $10. But you can wager up to $1,500, and if that doesn't win, you're getting it all back in bonus bets with BetMGM, along with up to 50% off your annual subscription to On 3. So go ahead, make this sports season one for the history books. Make it legendary with BetMGM and On 3. Just see BetMGM.com for terms. It's 21 plus only. Promotional offers are not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in the U.S. Call 1-877-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. That first bet offers for new customers only, subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Hotel. All right, Luckett. Defensively, let's start with the good, because I really you feel good about where Kentucky is in the trenches, both offensive line, defensive line, and man, across the board. I like what I see here. I really like what I see here. I mean, the part that was a little bit scary was at nose, because you got quality play from Gusta. You had Deion Walker the year before. I mean, even going all the way back to Quentin Bohanna, you've been really solid in the interior. Bully McCall, to name another. And Kalen Edwards was a big recruiting win. But it's like, all right, are you really going to roll with a redshirt freshman out there? No, you can't. So they go and they get Chops Harkless, bring him in after some time at Purdue. And then Dominic Wiseman's played a lot of reps at South Alabama. Those are big guys that can clog things up. Next to 3 techs that have produced a ton at the SEC. Tavian Gadsden, Luckett, he might be I know that we don't like how they do the all-SEC teams and media days because they don't really give positions. But if you had to just defensive tackles in the SEC, he's up there. Among the 2 or best 3 out there.
You think so? Yeah. I think, you can throw Humphrey Grace in there too. I think those 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like what they did on the front. We've talked about this, but like Gadsden and Humphrey Grace, I think, are like draft picks and potential all-SEC guys.
Mm-hmm.
Ahmad Bro was a rotational defensive tackle at LSU. That's what Kentucky's going to ask him to be behind Gadsden. Harkless was a starting nose tackle, had a good year in the Big Ten last year. Wiseman brings playing experience to the table. Kalen Edwards is a young guy you like. Jaden Williams played sparingly for Kentucky last year at defensive tackle. CJ Works had a good freshman year. Tyler Thomas can be, a rotation player. Played at South Alabama last couple of years. you just got the bodies, Nick, and then you go out to like their jack position, Antonio O'Berry, Lorenzen Cowan, Sam Green. Like you're gonna be, across the front four, 11 to 12 deep, I think. So I really like what they did here. I think this is the strength of the defense.
And college football is a war of attrition in many instances, and I saw Brad Powers is a big guy in Vegas. And based on his power rankings, just looking at power conference schedules, Kentucky's got the third hardest in the sport going into next year. So they're going to be taking some lumps. They need a lot of bodies, and they got them. I think that was wise from a roster building perspective. I think the part that people are going to question and wonder about, you hope that it's not like what happened at safety last year. It's just that cornerback, did they get enough quality reinforcements there? Because you're at the way you describe the receivers, it's similar. It's like, well, if you squint, you can kind of see it if they all hit, but I
think you have to squint harder with corner.
Yeah. Because
corners, it's big. I think they're betting on evaluation and player development here. I think, Nick, that was the cost-efficient position for them. We got to fix the line of scrimmage. We got to get a quarterback. We got to get receivers and running backs, right?
Yeah.
We got to get we need linebackers. That was just, to me, that was the position they kind of cut back on, I guess. And so now with that said, they got a lot of bodies in there, right?
And they got some guys with experience in the SEC.
Right. And Big Ten, and we'll see just how that plays out. But, yeah, that's I think that positionally, I think is the biggest question mark on the football team going into the season.
Well, and then the other part, too, is how much can the young guys give you? I know we were both high on Andrew Purcell a year ago, but didn't hear from him. Said it was Grant Graydon.
Yeah,
and
there's some wild cards in there that maybe, could really be a pleasant surprise for them this season.
And it goes back to how we started. Just we have an idea of how Jay Bateman's going to operate, but we don't really know, and how does that affect the corners? Because I think from a schematic change on both sides of the line of scrimmage, nothing impacts more than what you were asking corners to do. Because guys were lining up, playing a lot of cover 3, playing in zones, cloud coverages. You're not going to see as much of that. So, how does it impact them? And then the other question, too, is, if you're going to be bringing a lot of pressures, how much of it is going to be putting a lot more pressure on the corners to be able to cover, too,
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of man-match coverage, which means, start out in a zone a lot of times and then lock in. So, yeah, they're going to be on islands a little bit. To me, Bateman's defense and just how they spent money, Nick, I think they're going to put a lot on these 3 safeties. Ty Bryant, Jordan Castell, Aaron Gates. He's probably going to be their nickel. I think a lot of rotations, mixing and matching, rotating late in the blitz scheme. They're going to put a lot, I think, on those guys' plate, and they need those 3 players to be good for them. I think with Bateman, it's going to be a lot more aggressive. I think they're going to do some odd front, some, 2-gap stuff, but a lot of it's going to be an attacking downhill type of offense. Linebackers are going to be, I think, heavily involved in the blitz plan. You're going to see a lot of, mug fronts, and you're going to see them show, I think, in a lot of instances, 7 to 8 and make the offense kind of, all right, they're only bringing 4 or 5 here. What 4 or 5 are they bringing? And we've got to scheme it up. I think that's what you're going to see them try to do more. And I think they're going to try to create more tackles for loss, playing this way. Now, Elko wasn't, I would say, as aggressive as Bateman's defenses was at North Carolina. So I'll be interested to see just how that plays out. But I think it's important to remember how Stein kind of addressed defense in his opening remarks. And this is an offensive coach. They're going to want to play an aggressive style of ball, and they're going to want to force turnovers. And so you're going to see them. The blitz rate is going to be up this year, as opposed to what it was the last few years, because they're going to want to win football games in a different way. The last regime wanted to win football by shrinking the game, playing zone defense, keeping everything in front, and don't put the defense in bad spots. Offense milk the clock. So they wanted to win games kind of with defense and field position. I think this new regime is going to want to win games with offense. Offense wins the games. Defense just help us out, force some havoc, force some game-changing plays. We're gonna live with giving up a occasional, you hit us for a double post for 45 yards down the boundary.
Well, and the way that Stein put it on KSR is, as a play caller, it's harder on him when he doesn't really know what's coming. It's hard to win that chess match, right? When they might have 10 moves up their sleeve instead of just kind of one or two trying to play sound. I was listening to Stanford Steve talk recently, and his highest regard for defense right now is the guys that can confuse coverages, right? Confuse the opposing quarterback. And he said that
the goal of this defense is going to be.
He was like, nobody's as good at it as Elko. Elko's as good as there is right now in college football. And you're getting a guy who's worked with him for a couple of years. So,
yeah, that's going to be.
Pre-snap confusion will be a priority.
Yes. And then, remember when Mark Stoops at his press conferences, I'm sure if you pay attention to the press conferences, you've heard this. They show us a lot of exotic looks. They're hard to block, right? Because, you get in third and long against these guys, right? We're in trouble. But that's kind of what I think what this defense wants to be.
Yeah.
If this defense creates third and longs, they can present some problems, I think, specifically for quarterbacks who aren't, I would say, next level, right? Like specifically with, some inexperienced quarterbacks. And I think this defense, Nick, Tennessee-wise, it just matches up better.
Well, it can't match up any worse.
Bateman was at Florida with Ron Roberts. It's going to be a little similar to what Ron Roberts runs, who's kind of like the simulated pressure king. They had success against, Tennessee, matching up against them. I don't believe Elko's played them yet, but I just think it's gonna look better. You're gonna have a better chance to win that game. And just stylistically, like I'm talking about, I bet there's multiple instances in this season where Kentucky's down by 2+ touchdowns. I'm not saying they're gonna win those games, but then you look up in the fourth quarter and they have a legit chance to win the game. It's not just over.
Wait, you
with
can do
3
that?
minutes left in the second quarter.
Oh man,
it's just going to be different, just how they approach the game. I'm not saying one side's right or wrong. It's just this is a different kind of approach, and I think that's what the fan base wanted in a lot of ways. They just wanted to see a different kind of style, and you're going to get that. I think that's certainty at this point.
And the fans also want their questions answered. We got plenty from KS Board. We asked our friends over at KSR Plus, what do you want to know about this team right now? We're an open book. So let's go on over to KS Board, ask some questions. Thanks to Friends of Cole, friendsofcolekentucky.org. That's the website. You know them. You'll love them. Friends of Cole. Cole, resilient, reliable, efficient, part of the past, part of the future. Shout out Friends of Cole. They're sponsoring KSR. They're great. Friendsofcolekentucky.org. Visit Friends of Cole. Become a friend of Cole, a pal, a buddy. Ooh, what if I like Friends of Cole, but what if it was like, can we get like an alliterative? Would you rather be a pal of Cole, a buddy of Cole, a Cole crony, Coliac, like a Caniac, Any of those? No? I don't know. I'm just spitting right now. Spitting a bunch
Cole
of
crazies.
Cole crazies. There we go. This question, I like this question because it gets to kind of the heart of really diving into what we think is going to happen with Minchie. Is Kenny Minchie a 3,000-yard passer, and who has to help him out? to get there, right? Like what developments of the skill positions have to happen to get there? That was from in there. That was a great question. Great questions. Is Kenny Minchey going to be a 3,000-yard passer this year, Luckett? Is it going to finally happen?
Yeah, I think so. Like, you look at Stein's 4 years as a play caller, all of those quarterbacks set career highs in passing yards. Bo Nix, Dante Moore, first-time starter, so that didn't count. Bo Nix, Frank Harris, and Dylan Gabriel.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think they're going to finally hit that, and they have to, right? Like, we just talked about structure, style, philosophy, all of this. They kind of have to. I don't think they're going to be like this just dominant, overpower you rushing attack. So I think they're going to have to get to that number, and I think we'll see that. We'll see that happen.
Yeah. Because here's the thing: it feels like such an unobtainable number, but it's really not.
No, it's like 40 guys get there a year.
Yeah, like it's not that crazy. But to your point, to the second part of it,
Nussmeier threw for like 5,000 yards with Joe Sloan in 24. It was over 4,000, I'm pretty sure. I'll look that up. But yeah, like they're going to get – I would be surprised if they don't get there, if he doesn't get there, if he plays the duration of the season.
The part to answer the second part.
4,052 was what Nussmeier had. Sorry.
The tight ends have the potential to be high-volume pass catchers. We didn't really touch on them because they brought everybody back, but let's pull that out of them, right? Because I think that just alleviates a lot of stress elsewhere, especially on a first-time quarterback starting. You got these big targets with big hands. You got a lot of receivers who, it's probably going to be game by game who's the stud that's getting fed, right? So I think the tight ends, Willie Rodriguez in particular, you're going to have to ask a lot more for him than what you've seen from the past at that position.
Yeah, not only tight ends, backs.
Yeah.
They threw the backs a lot at Oregon. I think you're going to see that. One of the big things with Baxter is like he's really good in the pass game. Like he's going to be a factor in the pass game. I think Barnes is going to factor. We've seen what Patterson can do in the pass game, was a real threat, I think, on wheel routes. Like, Nick, we really didn't see a ton of halfback slip screens.
Nope.
All of that. I think
there's going to be or anything,
There's going to be a heavy diet, I think, of screens. You look at the Stein offense, if you study it at all, it's a lot of wide receiver smoke screens, bubbles, all of that, and then throwing off of those actions deep. I think you're going to see a lot of, the backs are going to be involved in the screen game. I think it's going to be a healthy amount of that, and you're gonna see that, I think, this year. Like Baxter, if he's RB1, like we talked about, he's going to have a lot of catches. Just get ready for that.
Or as Jacob Polachek would say, be ready.
Yeah, and then Willie, obviously, and then like Mikael Skinner.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you're doing when I write the wild cards column for this football team in August, Mikael Skinner will be included.
Yeah.
In that because of just his skill set and how players similar to kind of his skill set, how they've kind of succeeded in Stein's offense in the past.
All right, let's get to our next question. What do we got, Mr. Pete? Are you surprised how little we spent on wide receiver in the portal, considering Stein's known for feeding his studs? That comes us from Albert 2330. Think it'll change in the future. Albert, I would say they tried to spend in the portal, but the other guy wanted to go to Colorado.
I think they went all in. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they were willing to spend a lot. And instead of getting one guy, you got two. You didn't get DeAndre Moore, so you got Shane Carr and Nick Anderson. So does that work?
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see just how that plays out, right? Like DeAndre Moore's going to Colorado. Brennan Marion's the new play caller there.
Yeah.
They've got Juju Lewis, quarterback that was highly ranked out of high school, and they kind of loaded up at receiver. They got DeAndre Moore. They got Danny Scudero from San Jose State. Led the country in receiving. I believe he led the country in receiving and receptions and receiving yards last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of a slot. So, like, how do him and Moore kind of
right?
How do they both kind of succeed there? Colorado's kind of fascinating offensively, just from what they're going to look like, because they got weapons at receiver now. There was another receiver they picked up named It's escaping me at this moment. But that'll be interesting to see. And then from the opposite angle, just Kentucky. What does that look like? Like, you go on YouTube, put Nick Anderson's name in there, watch the 2023 highlight tape.
Yeah, and he was awesome.
You will get excited. Like, the tape is very, very good.
He was one of the more sought-after portal guys in the previous cycle. Yeah, I mean, he was one of the top guys out there, and
it's just the injuries. Can he stay healthy? And it was a unique case because he was at LSU and directly came to Kentucky essentially. So he didn't enter early, so he wasn't in there until late. That was obviously a concerted effort for Kentucky to get that done. And if he's healthy, like, he could have, I think, a big year for Kentucky, but he's got to get healthy. And then, Carr and Hassan Sykes, Nick, are kind of, even Antonio O'Barry, all FCS guys, right? All leveling up to SEC. Just how do they hit on those evals?
Can you get 2 out of 3?
Yeah. But wait, like, when we look back, like on Thanksgiving, like, how did those go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think all 3 of them, they need them all 3 to play big roles for this football team.
And it's also just something that didn't happen under the last staff. I mean, remember when Chris Collins went on that D2 run? That didn't amount to much.
Yeah, but they did just hit on one, right, with Humphrey Grace, but that was almost a no-doubter.
Yeah. No doubt about that. All right, what we got next, Peaker? Considering how injury-prone T. Nichols was, why do you think UK wasn't more aggressive in addressing the cornerback position in the portal? That comes from our pal SEC First. Always fun to mix it up with SEC First. He's in the weeds, man. He's an aggressive recruiting follower. I appreciate it. I kind of like chopping it up with SEC First from time to time. And Nichols really is, I think, that's one that I've always thought he was the most wild card, because just eye on the beholder. You could really like him based on what you've seen, but there's real reason to knock him as well,
or to be pessimistic.
The injury stuff. And I do think that, kind of what they mentioned a year ago is almost like it's a degenerative thing with him. If you have him out there too much, then he's not as good as he was. And you kind of saw that where his play started slipping, the injuries added up even more. You don't know how much injury he was playing with. But like you did kind of answer this earlier, where it felt like corner was almost just last on the pecking order. I think there's also so many bodies in there already that they're like, listen, we got a lot we can throw against the wall. Like, surely some of these will stick.
Yeah, I think you look at some of the young pieces. Andre Clark coming in, who I think's got a load of potential. Mark Manfred, he's got probably the biggest corner in the room, the Missouri transfer. Then you got DeMarcus Gardner and Andrew Purcell. What do all these guys look like? Can they get a surprise out of one of those? And then you've got, how does Grant Grayton fit? Nasir Addison, how does he fit in a new scheme? How does Kivas Thomas fit in the new scheme? There's just there's a lot over there. So, I think they basically, I think they thought they liked they had volume in the room.
Right.
And I think they just made a decision. We're not going to go after some of the top of the line corners in this, portal market. And we're going to, well, they went and got their guy. They got the one they wanted with Sykes. They kept Nichols, and that's their group. And so we'll see how it plays out.
Well, and it also felt like they really liked Sykes too, because that was to revisit that recruitment. I mean,
the social media reaction can tell you a lot.
Because, on Friday, he was leaving Kentucky, going to his Illinois visit, and people were putting in crystal ball picks for him to Illinois. And Kentucky was just like, no, you're not going to Illinois. You're coming here. So that, read into that what you will, but it seems like they're really bullish on what he can bring right away.
Mm-hmm. And I think, obviously, Nichols, there was buzz about him leaving too.
Yeah. All right, Pete, hit us with another one, brother. It's Clearstime wants to make a big splash at quarterback in the 27 class of the high-end guys Who do you think is most likely to end up at UK? That comes from Snowcats. It's been nice to go over to the KSR Plus page and look at. I always appreciated reading you and Mr. Polacek, but there's a lot more diversity over there now because Wiltfong, I feel like we've got more from Wiltfong in the last 2 weeks than we did in the last 2 years. So he's been hitting the pavement hard. And then obviously Justin Rowland now, you can see all of his stuff on KSR Plus as well. And we have an early quarterback board, which includes the number one quarterback in the 27 class, Elijah Haven. That feels like when Liam was
yeah. It's a pipe dream, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. When he was what was that guy's name who transferred everywhere? Malachi
Nelson. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where's he at now? He was at UTEP, wasn't he?
He's at Syracuse now. He's going to be the backup.
Oh, man.
Probably QB3 up there in that's Central New York. I believe that's Central New York.
Yeah, upstate. He's called upstate. Yeah.
You're not sure where it's at. Just say the upstate.
Well, what a career that guy's had. But yeah, that one feels like a pipe dream. I don't know all these guys very well because we're like a week or two into this. But the kid from Nashville seems promising. Kentucky's recruited well there. Like there's a little bit more familiarity there. What was his quote? I like the color blue.
Yeah,
that's kind of
blue's my favorite color. That's Andre Adams from Nashville. And then remember, Kenny Minchie, Greater Nashville native.
Yeah.
So he's definitely one I think you should watch closely. Obviously, Colton Nussmeier just because of the relationship with Joe Sloan. And then Keegan Croucher is committed to Ole Miss, Nick.
Yeah.
He's from the Northeast. He transferred to Chattanooga Baylor School.
Oh, he's at the Baylor School. Interesting. Big time program.
For his last year. And now this is a school like Briggs Cherry is Louisville's one of their highest rate recruits. Was Elite 11. Like that's who he's replacing.
Yeah.
There at Baylor School. He's one to watch because obviously he's committed to Ole Miss, but like he was committed to Lane Kiffin staff.
Yeah.
So I think Kentucky's got a real shot there. So he's one to watch. So yeah, they've got some, some options are emerging here. And so even Israel, let's see here. Israel Abrams. I was reading the wrong Israel Abrams, Greater Chicago, Kentucky made a trip to see him. That recruitment kind of seems pretty wide open with him at this point. So if you made a big push there, I could see you having a chance with him. So early in the process, but they've got some irons in the fire here. And so we'll see what they can do with them.
Yeah, you've seen a couple of players kind of stand out just by what Kentucky's investing. Trenton Blaylock's a cornerback from he's Houston, right?
Yeah, he's Houston. Yep.
They've had multiple stops in to see him. That's an all SEC recruitment. Like Vandy, Oklahoma, Texas, A&M, they're all in it. And then the kid Speedy Jennings down at Dillard High School.
Yep. Fort Lauderdale.
That's the school that gave us Jordan Wright. Kentucky had Sloan in there on Monday, and then Stein and Eastside Joe showed up the following day. So if you're getting return trips, then you're clearly a top priority in their list. So we're like at spreadsheet, it's coming together, and I think next week's going to be spreadsheet week here on 11 Personnel.
Yeah, we'll have the 2027 class, our first edition of the big board. Nick, we are at over 170 names right now.
Boom.
So we'll be up over 200 by the time that thing goes live. And so
a lot of those guys will be here this weekend. We got one final junior day.
Yeah, but we've got it color coded and everything. And so we'll have that ready for you all to consume, and then we'll talk about it next week, just where they are with some prospects. And Seneca Driver, obviously, is the big one showing up this weekend for their next junior day.
All right, Mr. Peak, who we got next? Let it rip. Ooh, this one from our guy, Hank Bramlett. Can you talk in some detail about what we've learned so far about the difference in recruiting practices, philosophy from the prior staff? Certainly seems like the volume of travel is up and that analytics, QC assistant positions are being expected to help in recruiting in a much bigger way. And how many additional staff members can we expect? I'll start with the last answer. Maybe 2, maybe 3. Maybe like a special assistant to the head coach. I know we joked about, that could be a Charlie Strong type role.
It's going to be, no, just a second of that position require a turtleneck.
But yeah, you maybe another recruiting role. Really 2 to 3 max. that could happen. But I do think that is the two biggest differences Hank kind of alluded to. Like one is just how, I mean, maybe the QC, like all the previous QCs, like it were like old guys who they wanted their expertise, right? Like it was like Brad Lambert, Barbay, like it was like former coordinators. We need you here watching film, doing advanced scout. Whereas you have some of that, like Wareham kind of fits in that mold, and so does the Trinity guy, your best friend. Yeah, Coverdale. But a lot of these guys are like 20-somethings who you want to climb the ladder, well, do some recruiting. Like that. That to me is, I think, the biggest one that's really jumped off the page. And for our guys he see first, just seeing Stein, being very public in his recruiting out and about. Whereas like we would get like one picture of Stoops at Tillman in a cycle. Like Stein's all over the place right now.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, first of all, Kentucky used to do this. Used to see all the coaches out on the road. That just didn't, over the last 5 years of the Stoops era, that just didn't happen as much.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. So, yeah, the volume's up. Stoops wasn't out much. Like, he went and saw Jarvis Strickland, Duca. That's the only one I really kind of remember. But they were out. You're just maybe not as much in the trenches as this group has been so far.
Well, I think more so like it's more of a, hey, these young guys know, excuse me, that you got to post pictures of you on the road for social media. Like they know they are playing the game. I think the other guys were out, like because Vince played the game. Like if Vince was out recruiting, there was pictures being shared. You know what I mean? So like
the last staff wanted to do everything under
cloak and dagger.
Yeah, cloak and dagger under a cover.
This one is they're playing the game. But I do wonder how many players can those QCs, like, is that 3 more players that you can, like 3 more quality players that you can get in a class because your QCs are recruiting harder? I don't know how much it matters, but I do know from just a pure public relations, get the fans fired up. I mean, they are just, I mean, they're touching the right notes, know?
Yeah. Again, I think to the staff, they're just modernizing, I think, Kentucky football to the current day, right? And I think that's what you're seeing with like using these positions, but also like allowing some of these younger guys opportunities in a big program, like Dallas Warmack, the new O-line, assistant O-line coach. Like he played at Bama, played at Oregon. He's from, I think, Atlanta.
Yeah, he might be a badass.
You're seeing him offer like, and you'll see it on the sheet because his name's on there a lot, like some big time prospects. And so that's obviously, I think, notable. And then like the Nichols coach, Foster, is it James Foster?
Gibson.
James Gibson. James Gibson. Trey Odom. Like you're seeing them a lot. Like when you see this sheet next week, when it goes live on KSR Plus, you'll see their names a lot. So like they're not on the road, but they're like in the relationship building process of these recruitments, which is really, really important.
I got to say, look, I can go see like old super chats, and there's one from the Rapid Reaction last night that really made me laugh.
Oh no!
Pope is recruiting a guy in a wheelchair to replace JQ next year. Oh man, I got a real kick out of just everybody's freakouts over just the little stuff last night, like the touch money thing. Like that's like the dumbest thing to get. They can't be focusing on that. It's like they're breaking a huddle. Like it doesn't matter. It's nothing.
Yeah. Just a reminder: ACL injuries are legit things to come back from.
Yeah,
it's not a 6 month. I think we all talked ourselves into that being. I remember talking to you about that in peak. I think with that in peak in August. I was like, why does everyone think this guy's Adrian Peterson? Like, this is an ACL injury. Like, this is not just he banged his knee. He's gonna be fine in 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah. We got an average basketball team. They'll figure some stuff out.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's the most 10 seed team I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. I will say, though, the last thing I wanted to see when I woke up this morning was John Calipari talking about Mark Pope being the right guy for the job. I did not need that, right? It's like, Cal, just hush. I know.
It was pre the game. It was like his press conference was starting when the game, before it was total disaster, I guess. I mean, it was disaster early. So
dude, they did the opposite of last year's team, too, where it was like instead of getting a 13-point lead and blowing it, they were behind 13 and came back and won on the road. That was, yeah, he's got a pretty good team. Let's get away. I'm sorry. You can tell, like, we get bogged down in our basketball blues as well. All right. We're all in the same boat together. Okay. Back to the football. Peak, hit us with another one before we wrap things up. And if we don't have another one, I can pull one really quickly.
Okay.
Oh, okay. How does our roster stack up against the rest of the SEC? We killed the portal, but we did have to basically build an entire team. That comes from NKY Wildcats. I will say that is hard. Like, it is hard to gauge right now. Mm-hmm. And I think if I had one big giant portal takeaway when just talking with amongst my friends, who are Louisville fans, you kind of need to be a little tepid with portal takes because of what happened with their team last year, right? Remember they had the best backfield in college football, Luckett, and then Miller Moss was going to come in and be awesome, and I mean that guy sucked, and some of their defense that they all hated on was the strength of their team that carried them for much of that. So, like, there is part of me that I know that we do need to have these grandiose takes. I want to be a little bit more tepid, but there are two things. Like, I will say South Carolina, they got some linemen. That was noteworthy. Obviously, Lane did the Lane thing. Them getting Jordan Seaton, like, they really are spending, I mean, pardon my French, a shit ton of money. I mean, LSU, the amount of money they got to be spending like $100 million on their football program next year. Between firing Don Kelly, bringing Lane in, all these portal, like, they are spending so much money. But the red flags, like, Vandy didn't really do anything. And Tennessee, they're kind of just betting on Joey Aguilar to get eligible.
They got a weird QB thing, which they could be fine if Faison Brandon, that 5-star quarterback, is good. But yeah, they've got their QB thing is weird right now.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's like, is Vandy just going to start Jared Curtis as a true freshman? I mean,
I can't remember the backup's name, but yeah, I think it's going to come down to those two. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, he was number 2 player in On3's new, I think, rankings update. So yeah, I think he's probably
smoke him if you got him,
Yeah. And I would bet on him being the starter when they come to Lexington in October. Missouri's interesting. Like, they let their quarterback walk and they bring in, Austin Simmons, right? No? Yeah, Austin Simmons. So he's going to be their quarterback.
He's got Caden Lee, too.
Caden Lee's coming with him. So what does that kind of look like? For Kentucky, I think obviously if you rank them rosters, they're towards the bottom of the league.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's some upside here with the offensive potential because what you have on the headsets, led by Stein, and then there's the Minchie upside is real. Like, I'm going to make this comp a lot. If that battle was as close as Marcus Freeman said it was, Notre Dame, you're already seeing CJ Carr on Heisman boards. He was good this year.
Mm-hmm.
If there's something close to that, he'll be one of the better quarterbacks. He'll be top half quarterback in the SEC. And if you have that, as long as you're not awful everywhere else like Arkansas last year and, find a way to win close games, I think there's a path for Kentucky to have success.
And the schedule's difficult, but I think the 4 is raised by what you're getting in the trenches too.
Should be, yeah.
I don't know all of the offensive lines around the SEC well enough. I would say both sides of the line of scrimmage, top half of the league, maybe not top 5, but I mean,
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair
Yeah. So that makes it's not as sexy and as flashy, but the play caller can elevate those guys' games. So like that's the part where if you're leaving any of this wanting to feel warm and fuzzy inside, it should be that you've got a high ceiling coach with a high ceiling quarterback and a high floor trench play.
And they've got a little bit element of surprise.
That's true. Not only is it a new coach, but it's also like nobody played this guy, right? Like it's not like they pulled a coordinator from another SEC program or anything. I saw it was a funny tweet. It was like, yeah, I can't believe Oregon never played anybody from the SEC, and it's like, well, why would they?
Yeah, unless it's
the playoff
postseason. Yeah,
so there's reason to be excited for Stein time, folks. I know you all are. I know you all are very excited.
Yeah, I just think again, you never know how the seasons are going to play out, right? Like,
yeah,
especially now with all these moving parts and rosters, you never know who's going to go, bust on some of these teams. And like, Kentucky drew Ole Miss the perfect week last year, right?
Yeah.
And some teams they did not draw at the perfect week, so you never really know how it's going to go. It's going to come down again. There's going to be 3 or 4 probably swing games that'll kind of determine, and we'll see what they can do in those games. But they do like the Alabama game week 2. It's fun, right? There's really no expectations for Kentucky. Alabama's got a new quarterback. They've stunk on the road for the most part with DeBoer.
They saw what happened at Florida State last year.
I mean, you want to talk about pressure? Like, there's a ton of pressure on them. Kentucky's got house money, element of surprise again in that game. Like, that's fun. I'm not saying they're going to win, but like, that could be like, this is what it's going to look like game. Even if they lose, like, this is how play style, this is how we're playing, and this is how we're going to try to attack. And I think, in that game, Nick, if they score some points, that crowd's going to be unhinged.
It really is.
Just like if they're hitting, throwbacks, reverses, popping screens at the place, that place is just going to be nuts.
Yeah. Just not.
It's going to be a night game probably because it's only SEC game. That place is just going to be.
Well, usually it's at 3:30 kickoff.
Yeah, maybe even so. That play, like if they go out there and score some points, that place is going to just be. People are going to lose their minds.
Yeah, just playing out the scenario where, you've got this aggressive head coach and they go for it on 4th down and they don't get it, but you live with it, right?
Fake punt. We're going to swinging gate. The debut of the swinging gate will happen that week. You right? Adam Luckett told you. Like, if Kalen DeBoer listens, he'll know. If he listens on that 11 personnel, he'll knows it coming because we'll talk about, when's the swinging gate coming? We get the swinging gate.
Oh, DeBoer probably won't even bring out the black hoodie. He'll think it's in the bag. Won't even need it.
Too hot.
Too early for the black hoodie of death. Oh, man. Well, we went a little long. That's what you expect, 11 personnel. We got to talk football, get fired up, even if it is the middle of a snowy January evening. We're going to have visitor list coming up around the quarter for who's going to be showing up this weekend. And should have some more 11 personnel before you see Adam Luckett now the next time. We still haven't figured out regular schedule. Yeah, we'll be candid. Yeah, we're shooting from the hip. But you're going to have content, folks. I can guarantee that. I can promise you that. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with you tonight. We'll see you before too long. He's Adam Luckett. I'm Nick Roush. Go Cats and go Kroger.